What's going on, YouTube? So the Hyundai Palisade has been taking the world by storm, bridging the gap between mainstream and luxury.
And for 2024, Hyundai's back at it again with even more standard features and a new Calligraphy Night Edition for the Palisade.
So is this even better than it was before? Let's go ahead and find out. Now, first things first, let's start off this review under the hood for our spec dump. You continue to have the same engine as last year. It's going to be a 3.8-liter V6 engine, making 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque.
You have an 8-speed automatic transmission, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. As far as your fuel economy, that's unchanged for 2024, 22 or 21 miles a gallon combined.
Now, of course, we're going to go out for a test drive later on in the video. We're going to get things like our sound level reading so we can compare to other rivals on CarConfections.com. But first, let's close up the hood and start to get into some of those 2024 updates. Now, like I just mentioned, there are some 2024 changes, and the reason I went ahead and mentioned that is because one of those changes is going to be evident as soon as you walk up to the Palisade. Now, what we have today is the calligraphy trim level. This one right here is not specifically different, but as Mason mentioned in the intro, you now have a Calligraphy Night Edition. That's what's new. And what that's going to do is give you that full blacked out look that's so popular. You've probably seen that they have that XRT trim level that has a full blacked out look, but now you can combine the blacked out look with all the goodies that the Calligraphy has to offer. Now, as we move over here to our headlights, these have not changed for 2024. We continue to have very premium lighting. So up top, you've got the LED turn signal indicator integrated into the grille itself. You have this flowing daytime running light that waterfalls all down through here into the separated housing, which has projector LED headlights as standard equipment on all trim levels. Now, as far as the back is concerned, again, this was just coming off a refresh last year, so you're not going to see any huge changes.
Well, there are some changes if you choose that Night Calligraphy model, because that's going to black out your Hyundai branding back here, really give you that sportier look, as well as this lower diffuser area is going to be blacked out for that very dynamic look that you kind of have on the XRT trim level, but you're getting all the features here. But let's check out our taillights and see if all the elements are LED here on the Calligraphy. So we have an LED brake light, we also have an LED turn signal indicator, and an incandescent reverse light. So 2 out of 3 elements are LED. I wish they would do full LED taillights, but not bad. And I do like how the brake light goes all the way across the top. Rear wiper right here. As far as your tow rating is concerned, it's 5,000 pounds.
Now, talking about our wheels, your SE and SEL, the lowest 2 trims, will come with 18-inch alloys. However, everything else is going to come with 20-inch alloys. The Calligraphy is going to have the turbine-style multi-spoke, which I think is the most attractive-looking wheel option in the lineup. And if you get the Night Edition, that's going to black out the entire wheel. Now, as we come up here to our mirrors, you have those unique indicators right through there. As far as the features, these mirrors are really interesting because every single model has standard blind spot monitoring, standard heating, and standard auto dimming, which is a really rare feature. However, none of the models will have power folding.
Now, as far as the length, that doesn't change for 2024. 196.7 inches is what you're looking at with this Palisade. For the Calligraphy model, we do have the body color wheel surrounds, which I do really like. You even keep that if you choose the Night Edition as well. And as far as your safety systems, I want to talk about that. We have all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment on the Palisade. Additionally, you're going to have Highway Drive Assist 1.0, standard on all models. And if you go for a limited trim level and above, you will get their more advanced Highway Drive Assist 2.0 system. But Hyundai has changed some stuff on the inside, so let's check that out. But before, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's move on to the interior. You do have a standard smart entry system on all Palisades. You get the digital key system if you choose at least the SEL trim level, And here on the calligraphy, we even have the smart part system. Now to get inside, just reach behind the handle. That's going to unlock the door. And take a look inside this interior. Of course, the Palisade is known for having a luxurious interior, and that's especially true with the calligraphy trim level. But let's talk first about material and color options. So you have not only one, but two, three, four different seating material options on this Palisade model. So you start with cloth, you move to leatherette. You have real leather on the limited trim level, and then top-end calligraphy comes with this beautiful Napa leather. So this is one of the nicest grades of leather available in the auto industry, and you have all these really nice stitching details up here in the top, as well as color contrast piping along the outside edges. Now, as far as the seats themselves, these are going to be very advanced seats. So you've got a lot of adjustments here with the calligraphy trim level, including a power thigh extension, and then you'll want to notice this button right here. Massages are not just for your rich aunt in the Hamptons anymore. You now can get massaging on the Calligraphy Palisade. And then, of course, you also have two-person memory right there as well. But let's climb inside and take a look at the details. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the cabin material. So we'll start out with our door trim. As always, we do have a nice leather material through here. That same stitching detail will run through the center section. And then along the top will be soft touch. As we move to the upper dashboard, this will all be a soft touch plastic. You'll notice we have this kind of flowing lines looking trim that runs through here. It looks remarkably similar to the Mercedes GLS we just were testing out. If you choose the light color interior, by the way, that will give you a faux bamboo instead. You have some leatherette that runs through the center. You've got this single vent that was added for 2023, and then you have a faux aluminum that runs through the center section. Now to fire it up, press the standard button. Now, like always, as we move into a first-person perspective, we'll take a closer look at the details. We do have the digital gauge cluster on board with this model. You're going to get that with the limited trim level or above. Of course, it does adjust the design depending on which drive mode you're in. You have some additional features, such as the blind spot camera system. And with those same trim levels that have the digital cluster, you've got the head-up display. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the updated design last year, nicely leather wrapped, good feel in the hand. It is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, and it is also heated as well. But now let's go ahead and get into a new element we are integrating into our videos. This is called the Car Confections Donut Test, and that's because we're seeing if it can fit a dozen of our little stuffed donuts. So, as you can see, we have loosely packed in all 12 of those donuts into the center console. So this is going to be a very spacious center console, and it does pass the donut test. Now, up in front of that, we've got two cup holders. You can actually fold these up if you want some additional storage and pop them out on demand. And then we have a wireless phone charging pad next to that. One of the nice things about the Palisade's design is that it does allow for a very large center pass-through as well, so you can easily put in something like a purse or a diaper bag, anything you're going to need to stick right there. One of the reasons for that is because we have an electronic shifter. Very easy to use. Just press the D for drive, of course. You do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel if you want to use them. R is for reverse, and once in reverse, you're going to see this 360-degree camera system pop up. Rear parking sensors are going to be standard on all models. This 360 camera is going to be on both the limited and the calligraphy trim levels. And just like what we first saw in some Genesis products, we do even have the 360 3D spin, which is a really premium feature. Now off to the side of the shifter, you're going to find heated and ventilated seat controls. Heated seats will be included on SEL and above. Ventilated seats will be on both the limited and the calligraphy trim level. Above that, you have some drive mode controls, and then you have your climate controls. Now, new for 2024 is the fact that the 3-zone climate system will be standard on all trims, including the base model. Here with the calligraphy, we have a little touch screen that's kind of integrated into the display, or into this area, rather. And you can make your adjustments right through there very easily, and you have physical controls to adjust the temperature itself. Also, physical controls for your audio system. So there's a couple different audio systems. Limited and above will get the upgraded 630-watt 12-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. let's give that a sample right now. Yeah, so overall sound quality on this is really top notch. It sounds excellent and even has real metal speaker grills. That is very, very hard to find in a mainstream SUV. All right, let's take a look up here at our display next. So for 2024, we continue to have a 12.3-inch display, and nothing as far as the actual software itself has changed. So you do have that typical Hyundai look. It is going to have the built-in navigation right there. However, you will only have wired Android Auto and wired Apple CarPlay. They have not quite added the wireless support yet. Hopefully that's something they're looking into in the future. Up top here, most models are going to come with an auto-dimming mirror. Since we have the calligraphy, we've got the special digital rear camera mirror, and this has the HomeLink remotes built into the bottom of it as well. Up top, you got LED lighting. You also have a dual panel sunroof. So this is what the front section is going to look like. In the back there, we can slide back that shade by pressing that button there. So like I said, you have two different panels that you can work with. And you also notice on the calligraphy that you have the Alcantara headliner.
Now, the second row of a Palisade is really more like sitting in a luxury lounge than it is what you would expect sitting in a Hyundai would be like. That's for sure. Now, as far as the space is concerned, let's go ahead and dive into that because that's a very impressive part of this Palisade. It's always been very big for the segment. 42.4 inches of legroom, a little over 40 inches of headroom, so very big space figures for the segment. I did bring my bendy ruler so we can measure from the seat back to my knee. We're sitting at about 10 inches of space, and I'm 5'9" for reference. The seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". My feet can also slide up underneath the seat. I can slide my seat forward and back. I can also recline it a very good distance. Whew, comfy, comfy. I also have the wing style headrest. That was added in the 2023 update, so just like an airplane seat, you can really take a killer nap in this Palisade. Now, captain's chairs are going to be included on XRT, Limited, and Calligraphy trim levels. And then let's go ahead and go look at the features. So Hyundai's not leaving you hanging here. They like to throw in a lot of features, and we're going to have our own climate controls. That's standard equipment. If you choose a Limited trim level and above, you will have 3-stage heated rear seats and 3-stage cooled rear seats. So even on a hot day like today, it can suck that sweat out of your crack and really enjoy that in the higher end trim levels. Now, a new feature for 2024 is that we have an automatic function for the rear climate controls. That's standard equipment on all models. Then dropping down below that, we have a household outlet, a 12-volt outlet, 2 USB ports. These are the Type C variety. Up at the ceiling, we have some lighting. We have our vents right here, an assist grip, and let's turn to the door trim. On the door trim, there's also another new feature for 2024. Rear window sunshades are now included on XRT trim levels and above. Now, dropping below that, we have a nice pattern here for our leather on the armrest portion, 2 cup holders, and a bottle storage down in the very bottom, so you can have all your Slurpees that your heart desires for your kids in the rear of the Palisade. But let's go ahead and check out the Palisade's third row. So in order to get back here, they have made it very easy. You press that button right there. That's going to electronically fold the seat and slide it out of the way to make entry very easy into the third row. And sitting back here, how's it going to land on our Car Confections third row scale? Well, besides for the seatbelt that's banging my head over here, this is a third row that's fit for a king in this segment because this is a very impressive place to spend time. It has about 31 inches of legroom, 37 inches of headroom, which is very impressive figures for this segment. Really, the only thing that's going to be better than this would be like a Toyota Grand Highlander for reference. So very, very good third row. And we're going to have a lot of features back here as well. We have 3 seats, so do keep that in mind. And then, as you can see, the thigh support is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the best in the segment, but it is near the top. My feet can also slide up underneath the seat, and with the seat adjusted all the way back in its tracks, I'm still looking at about 1.5 inches of knee space. Keep in mind I'm 5'9". Now, really the reason it ranks so high on the scale is because we have a lot of features back here. We have 2 cup holders, we have a USB-C port on each side, and we have this button right here that will actually allow me to really adjust my seat however I want, actually recline it back. And we also have 3-stage heated third row seats. Yeah, that's a feature that is optional on a Mercedes GLS, and it's actually standard on limited trim levels and above on this Palisade. Additionally, we do have vents out of the ceiling. And of course, if you're buying in this segment, you want to know how much space you have in the cargo area. So let's dive into that. We do have a power tailgate on SEL trim levels and above, and it's going to also have that hands-free ability as well. Now, as far as the cargo capacity, 18 cubic feet behind the third row seats. If we go ahead and fold those down, we're going to be sitting at about 46 cubic feet of space, and then as a maximum, we're sitting at 86 cubic feet of cargo capacity with all of the seats folded down. As you can see, it all can be done very easily with a quick press of the button, and that's actually because we have a power folding third row standard on limited and calligraphy trim level. So that's pretty much one of those features in this class that's very rare to even have on just the top end model, much less the top 2 trim levels. For instance, the Kia Telluride cannot get a power folding third row at all. Now, if you're curious as to the cargo space, how it compares to the all-new Honda Pilot, which I know a lot of you guys cross-shop this with, it's right on par. It's about half cubic foot less as a maximum. And as far as how long the cargo area is, we're sitting at about 86 inches of length for the cargo area. And let me go ahead and get the width measure from the trunk lid here. 45 inches wide. So if you're curious as to what could fit in that, that certainly could fit an average adult bicycle. That's only about 69 inches long. You're going to be able to fit a lot of things in this Palisade's cargo area. Additionally, you have a little bit of underfloor storage as well if you can't fit it in the main cargo department.
Alright guys, it's the time of the video where we head out on the road. As always, we're going to cover, a wide variety of information in this test drive. We've got our sound level meter queued up so that we can get a sound sample in this calligraphy trim level. And we'll start off with an acceleration.
Alright, and there's 60 miles an hour in the 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. Now, for 2024, they haven't really changed much when it comes to the powertrain. As we said in the spec dump, it's a 3.8 liter V6, naturally aspirated. It's going to be making 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. It's a very healthy amount of power for this segment of vehicle. And as you can see, it gets up to 60 miles an hour perfectly fine. Definitely no issues accelerating here. And really the thing to know about this V6 is that it's just so refined, and even under hard acceleration never sounds strained, which is certainly something that a lot of the rivals can't say now that they've switched to turbo 4 cylinders.
Yeah, a lot of you guys we see in the comments are a little concerned about the trend towards turbo 4 cylinders and hybrid systems. So if you're more of a traditionalist, you're going to prefer that we have the traditional V6 on board. Speaking of hybrid, though, I might as well go ahead and mention there is not a hybrid version of this. If you want a hybrid at this current time, you're going to have to get the smaller Santa Fe.
Yeah, it has a nice growl to it, and we have tested this out for a full 7 days back in the 2023 model, and certainly we really loved living with this powertrain setup over a full 7 days. And if you want to watch that review with our 7-day inputs, you can go ahead and find that on our channel as well.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about the other aspect of the powertrain, which is the 8-speed automatic transmission on board. This is a smooth, very nice and refined transmission. I think it's a good mate to the V6 engine for sure.
Yeah, and as far as how that's put to the ground, it's routed to the ground via the front wheels or all-wheel drive. You can actually get front-wheel drive on all the trim levels, including this Calligraphy, and that's actually what we're driving here today. So it's a little bit of a rare vehicle. I don't imagine they sell very many of these, but a Calligraphy front drive is what we have today, and actually, if you paid attention during my initial acceleration, we actually had a little bit of tire spin putting that power down. So I personally would recommend going for all-wheel drive, especially if you're going for a big, heavy vehicle like this with a V6 engine. But if you're someone that lives in California or somewhere that it's very moderate climate-wise, this can save you a few $1,000s. I think it's $1,900 if you choose all-wheel drive. Now, our auto start-stop system has went ahead and activated, so I'll go ahead and kick it back on. It is a very smooth auto start-stop system. No jolts or anything when the engine kicks back on. So certainly no complaints there with the auto start-stop. It is not a mild hybrid or anything along those lines, though.
I might as well go ahead and mention fuel economy here. Front-wheel drive is going to be rated at 19 city, 26 highway, 22 combined. All-wheel drive is 19 city, 24 highway, 21 combined. That's going to match the V6 rivals, the ones that have that traditional V6. But of course, if you're going to cross-shop it with something like the new Grand Highlander, that's going to have some hybrid offerings that allow you to achieve quite a bit better fuel economy. So just, pros and cons, keep that in mind.
Very smooth acceleration. Now, I do want to talk about the ride quality for this Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy, because that is just one of the strongest elements about this vehicle. This thing rides like a dream. Really, a lot of the things in this segment ride fantastic, but I still put this at the top end of the segment because it just does a phenomenal job of soaking up the bumps. You really have that luxurious feel inside of this Palisade, and that translates into your ride quality. I mean, heck, I can sit here and get a massage in this, which is just so uncommon in this segment, and the seats are so comfortable. So really not enough, or too many things good to say about this, honestly.
Yep. Another thing that's nice is the sound level, so let's capture that.
Now at 55.
Okay, looks like we got 55.1.
55.1. That is a very good sound level reading, but you don't have to take my word for it because we review hundreds of cars each year, and we have all of those posted on CarConfections.com. So if you want to see how this ranks against all of its rivals, you can see that on our website. We've developed that tool. It did take a while to go through all the cars that we've done.
It was a lot
but
of
we
work.
developed that tool for you guys so you can easily sort by segment. So how does this rank compared to other three rows, Drew?
So that's definitely going to be one of the best rated three rows in the class. It's going to fit it right in between the sibling Kia Telluride and the brand new Grand Highlander.
And now it's time to do one of our other Car Confections signature elements, the Airball and Slam Dunk. We are in Kentucky after all. So Drew, what's our Slam Dunk when it comes to this Palisade?
Slam Dunk is just obviously the level of luxury. Even with the new entries in the segment, we're getting close. Like the new Atlas was pretty impressive with the redesigned interior, but I don't think anything is quite caught up to Palisade yet. There's just so much luxury in here and so many features that it's hard to rival.
Yeah, and I will say the 2024 updates of adding the Palisade Calligraphy Night Edition, I think that's a really good addition to the lineup because that really means that you can pick that darked out theme on the outside and still get all the luxury inside this cabin, which I think is what a lot of people were really wanting.
For sure.
And as far as our Airball is concerned, it's been our Airball for a few years, but we really wish Hyundai would go ahead and update the infotainment to have wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. The vast majority of people that use these cars nowadays really want to use those in-car Apple CarPlay features and stuff, and having to plug it in is just a little inconvenient, and the Grand Highlander, as well as most of the rivals, now have wireless abilities.
And last thing I want to mention is the warranty. Hyundai, of course, is known for having a very long warranty, so you have the 5-year 60 basic, the 10-year 100,000 miles for the powertrain, and you even have 3 years of complimentary maintenance.
And let's talk price for this 2024 Palisade. Now, prices are going to rise about $600 across the board when it comes to the trim levels over the 2023 model, but I don't think that's too bad, especially when the price of bread is pretty much raised $600 this year with all the inflation. So we're starting at $36,400 for the SE trim level. As we go up the trim structure, you end in the Calligraphy, which starts a little over $50,000 this year. The Calligraphy Night Edition, if you're curious as to how much that starts at, that's $53,600. Do keep in mind that does have standard all-wheel drive, so you won't be able to do what we have on this model, which is a Calligraphy with front drive, which I think is a particularly good value. Fully loaded up, we're at $51,435 with the 1335 destination. And if you're really itching to get that Calligraphy Night Edition, I know we're itching to get a video on it. From our research, it does appear like that's going to be rolling out a little bit later. It's not going to be with all the other 2024 models. So hopefully we'll be able to track one of those vehicles down in the next month or two and get you guys an in-depth review on just that trim level. And guys, that's it for our in-depth review of the 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your family's purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to gain access to a ton of automotive content that I know you won't want to miss out on, including a lot of content on the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe, which is coming out in just a few more months. If you're already a subscriber and a part of our Car Confections family, thank you so much for your continued support because you do make this all possible. We'd really also appreciate if you check out our Instagram and TikTok pages, as well as our all-new CarConfections.com website. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.